Okay, it's finally time. We're finally going to get around to the one video everyone has said I need to check out from Fat Electrician. Every single time I have posted about Fat Electrician, mentioned Fat Electrician in a video, or anything revolving around him, this single topic has come up. The submarine that sank a train. It only comes in first place to Jake McNasty. Because people want me to see that one, people want me to see this one. And it has been since the first time I ever found out about the Fat Electrician. For the first time. Everyone has been urging me to get to this. Now, let me tell you something about Fat Electrician. FatElectrician.com is where you can get his merch. And I'll tell you this. He has a whole bunch of great sponsors. But I like the guy because he reached out to me. Like at one point, he found out I was checking out his stuff. He liked it. He liked it. And then cat just jumped up on my leg to get on the table. He reached out because he found out I didn't have. I wanted to get the quack duck grenade. I wanted to get that for this display back here because, a quack duck grenade is awesome. Are you kidding me? I still haven't checked out the origin of that, but still. He sent me a couple of shirts. I'm not wearing one today because they're all in the wash, but they're some of my favorite shirts, especially the unhealth care one, okay? Especially the unhealth care one. But with all that being said, subscribe to him if you haven't already. I don't know why you haven't done that, and I really don't know why you guys haven't subscribed to me yet. It's really just breaking my heart at this point. Leave a comment on this video. All that kind of stuff, because it does help me out with the algorithm. And I'm fighting an eternal war against the algorithm, just like I am fighting an eternal war for this thing's affection. This thing loves me. It doesn't bother me until I start talking. And then I get this. Constant, needy thing. Seriously? In any case, let's get into this. This is the USS Barb, the submarine that sank a train. Physics!
Today we're talking about the USS Barb. Commissioned in 1942, it is a Gato-class diesel-electric-powered submarine. Serving in a total of 12 war patrols, it is credited with the sinking of 17 enemy ships. Amongst those ships was a frigate, a cruiser, and an entire aircraft carrier. And if you don't know what any of that means, they're really big ships. Big ships means a big deal. Science. Here's the thing though, that 17, that's just the actual enemy navy that it sunk. If you want to see the actual damage they did, we have to check out their battle flag. With the exception of a couple ribbons up top, every patch on this flag represents a different enemy objective that the USS Barb deleted. For example, each one of these ones represents a different enemy merchant ship. And each one of these represents 7 smaller enemy merchant ships. Look, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that the USS Barb fucked up more enemy infrastructure than Godzilla. Don't take my word for it though, even the enemy's own records indicated that the USS Barb was credited with sinking the most tonnage of their ships.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have any idea how bad you have to be getting your ass beat to start keeping track of it by the ton? And all this happened before it got out of hand.
Hey. Oh, this again. One day they may get along. That day is not today. Hey, stop it. Little balls of rage and hate.
Cue this man, Eugene Lucky Flucky. He was the commander of the USS Barb.
Alright, hold on a second. I gotta break this up. I just gotta go back to this guy's name. Eugene Lucky Flucky. I can't make fun of that.
Barb in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th War Patrol. What's important to understand is a commander of a submarine at this point in time was only allowed to serve in a maximum of 4 war patrols, because the Navy believed that any more than that, they would either become too cautious or too reckless. So in the USS Barb's 11th War Patrol, which was also Flucky's 4th and presumably his last war patrol, the USS Barb and her crew, under the command of Lucky Flucky, decided, fuck it, we're just gonna revolutionize warfare for...
Lucky Flucky Exploding Ducky. God, I hate myself.
Fun. You see, up until this point, submarines really just lied and waited for an enemy boat to sail by, and then they'd sink it with a torpedo.
Yes.
Flucky, though, decided that on his last war patrol, he was going to go out on the offensive. And to do this, Flucky decided that they would utilize a new strategy that he liked to call maximum harassment, which is just a fancy way of saying, hold my periscope, because shit's about to get real. They literally started driving through the enemy. And on January 28th, 1945, they would sail the USS Barb through a shallow minefield into an enemy harbor with 30 enemy ships in it. Firing a total of 8 torpedoes at the enemy ships, he would break the record for the most enemy tonnage sunk in a day. They would then turn around and escape completely unharmed. This was considered to
Dude, this sub had the Doom music playing, okay?
be the most successful submarine raid of all time at this point. And if you don't know, submarining is called the silent service because they do not talk about what they do. This was so impressive that it became headline news. For this, Flucky was awarded the Medal of Honor, which brings a perfect close to an epic career of commanding submarines.
No, not yet.
Nah. Lucky Flucky would then request to be able to have a 5th war patrol with the
You can't deny a Medal of Honor winner. You can't do that.
USS Barb. A request that they granted him despite their fears that he would become either too conservative or too
The look on this guy's face is just telling me that he's having a good time. And you know what I say, good times rhymes with war crimes. Well, he was just hoping that his side won so he wouldn't be charged with war crimes. And he was winning, so he was pretty happy. Happy-go-lucky Flucky. God, I hate myself.
reckless. Once they granted him this 5th patrol, he immediately requested that the USS Barb be fitted with rocket launchers. Gotta set a tone. Which Uncle Sam actually agreed to because fucking America, making the USS Barb the first submarine to ever be equipped with rockets and to have the capability of attacking a target on land. The harassment just got more maximum. So under the command of Lucky Flucky, the USS Barb would go out on its 12th and final war patrol. They would utilize their new rocket launchers to do shore bombardments, much like larger warships. They destroyed multiple enemy factories and other objectives, becoming the first submarine in history to destroy enemy objectives on land, paving the way for what is now modern-day submarine warfare.
Oh
Medal
my
of Honor
God.
revolutionized submarine warfare twice. Still not enough, though. Back to the battle
Let's go.
flag. Okay, I told you each one of these patches means it sunk something,
Yes.
right? Did anybody notice there's a fucking train on it? July 23rd, 1945. The USS Barb and her crew decide that spawn killing supply ships as they leave the harbor was for casuals. They're gonna put a stop to this in the loading screen. They're gonna play a little game of fluck around and find out with the train before it can even drop off its cargo to the ships. But there's a catch. Getting close enough to use the rocket launchers will almost certainly get them caught. So they hatch a plan that they're going to send a small group of men ashore on a little raft.
Okay.
These men would then booby-trap the train tracks with a 55-pound scuttling charge, blowing up the train. And if you don't know, a scuttling charge is an explosive that a ship has on it in case it needs to sink itself to prevent it from falling into enemy hands.
Yes.
Big, very big boom. But there's a problem with that. To detonate it, they can't use a timer because the timing of the train is unpredictable. And they're not willing to leave
Please tell me they had somebody standing by the train tracks flipping it off as it came by, because that only that would make this more awesome.
a man behind to set it off manually. So they seek the help of the man that I can only assume is the most beautiful, slightly alcoholic, broom-fearing man on the USS Barb, the Electrician. And he's able to cook up a homemade pressure switch that they can put underneath the railroad tie, so when the train drives by, it'll put enough pressure that it'll detonate the scuttling charge.
All right.
So the small team goes out, makes it to land, sets the charge, becoming the first and only Americans to actually officially invade the main islands of Japan during World War II.
It's amazing the things that you know, the things that you know historically. I didn't know any Americans set foot on mainland Japan. A lot of people don't know that there were members of, like, a lot of people just don't know that there were members of the, you know, members of the American Armed Forces that were in Berlin with the Soviets. A lot of people don't know these things. I know that Americans were in Berlin with the Soviets because my grandfather was one of them. And there are pictures. Picture it didn't happen. There are pictures of this. So, there goes something like, I didn't find this out. My dad didn't even know it until a book came out where this was shown. And there's my grandfather with members of the Red Army. in Berlin. And yeah, it was pretty impressive stuff. I'll tell you this. My grandfather. My grandfather was built different, and reading some of his citations, he was built different. Oh, good Lord! Can you guys stop it? Thank you. Stop it. But I didn't know any Americans had set foot on mainland Japan before the war was over either. This is why I love this channel.
They then get back in the raft and head back to the USS Barb, and the train comes by. The men reported that the engine of that train went 200 feet in the air, marking the first and only flight test of a freight train. Thomas, the train engine, would then find out that gravity's a motherfucker, get bitch slapped with the planet before tumbling into the ocean, officially giving the USS Barb bragging rights of being the only naval vessel to sink a freight train.
Yes!
But the best bragging right of all is the fact that under the command of Eugene Lucky Flucky, not a single sailor was killed or seriously injured under his command during his time on the USS Barb.
Nice.
The USS Barb would then be given to the Italian Navy, where it served until 1972. It was then sold for scrap for a price of $100,000. Because shitty decisions.
Yes.
Speaking of shitty decisions, there's a bunch of other websites that are now stealing my shirt designs, but if you actually want to support me, the only place you can get my shirts is from my merch store at thefatelectrician.com or from Bunker Branding. Anyone else is just trying to steal my shit. The highly requested USS Texas design and the most requested fur musket design go live on April 1st. That is all. Quack bang out. Today we're talking about the
Okay, seriously. This is the reason that you guys had me start watching The Fat Electrician. It's stories like this. This stranger than fiction McHale's Navy level stuff that comes out from this kind of stuff. Because you wouldn't believe this stuff unless you saw it. Half of the stories that have come off of this, out of his mouth, you would expect to see in a comedy movie spoofing the military. Spoofing the military. And say I'm wrong about it. Everyone would just question it. Everyone would say it was crazy. I remember when the movie came out, Hacksaw Ridge. People were confused at first because nobody really knew about Desmond Doss. And people didn't know if it was accurate or not until it got, a lot of things. I knew people that were still didn't know that this was actual. Oh my goodness, stop it. Stop it. My train of thought is getting blown up worse than that Japanese train is. Guys, you get what I'm saying. I'm an idiot. I'm going to go now. Here is the troublemaker. Come here, you. I'm petting you. You want me pet? Come here. Come here. Brat cat. This is the cause of all the trouble. This is the cause of all the trouble. Will you please calm down? Alright, thank you. Or folks, I'm out. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment.